I believe this is now my 17th consecutive year sitting in front of a laptop, iPad, etc., recording myself, talking to myself, and only myself about Buffalo Bills football. Some of you are new here, welcome. Some of you have been doing it all 17 years. Appreciate the heck out of you. It's been a ride. It's had its ups, it's certainly had its downs. But more recently, it has consistently ended the exact same way, with the Bills losing to the Patrick Mahomes-led Chiefs in the playoffs. And typically I will make a end of season video after the Bills have been eliminated. I have done that in the past. I have made off-season videos in the past. I don't want to tell you it's too tiring. It's not really too tiring. I have no issue making the video. I just struggle sometimes with what I'm going to say. Like, for 4 times in 5 years, the Bills have lost to the Chiefs in the playoffs. What do you want me to say after that? Hey, guys, happened again. Let's go through the game. Like, I don't have the energy for that. Again, it's not too tiring, but I don't have the energy for that. Does that make sense? I just need to, like, sort of detox myself, to get away from football for a little bit. And I know that sounds silly because football is just constantly in our heads, whether throughout the offseason even. Like, even after the Bills are eliminated, it's the Super Bowl, it's free agency, it's the draft, and then training camp ramps up. And I'm thinking about it all the way. Yes, of course. I just don't have the energy to spend talking about the same stuff over and over. It's such a grind. I'm leaning back. Look at me. I'm leaning back on my couch because the grind, here we go, the grind, it's starting again, where the Bills will play 17 regular season games. And do they really matter? Sort of. Of course they matter. But you have this expectation that you're going to be playing meaningful football in January. Everybody expects that. Every Bills fan expects that and presumes that. Maybe rightfully so. It might be shallow-minded, but I think, again, it's rightful. You have Josh Allen. You have the reigning MVP of the league. Very cool for him. You should be in the playoffs. You should cruise the division. I think the division opponents are reeling. Well, they're going different directions. I think the Jets are bottoming out. The Dolphins are they're circling the drain, so to speak, and they feel like they're about to get flushed. The Patriots are on the up and up, I think. I think I like what they've done, but I'm not sure they're necessarily ready to unseat the Bills as division champions. So the Bills should have a home game again in January. They should beat the crap out of the 7 seed again, presuming they're the 2. Like, that's what this is about. I guess that's what this is. The regular season is about the 1 seed. That's all it's about. Are we going to get it or are we not going to get it? It's really all that matters with the next 17 games. And I'm going to sit here and talk to you about every single one of them. But that's all that's all that we're looking forward to at the moment. Can you get it done in January? I don't know. I'm not like pointing fingers like you, Josh Allen, you, Sean McDermott. Can you get it done? Some of you probably point fingers. That's fine. That's your right, I think, as a sports fan. You're allowed to hold people accountable. Even if it's not necessarily correct, you're allowed to have these discussions with your friends, family, etc. On social media, whatever. It's just such a grind. That's what I keep coming back to. Like, here we go again. I'm excited. Don't get me wrong. I can't wait. I cannot wait for Sunday. I think it's going to be a blast. Last season at Highmark Stadium, New Era, the Ralph Rich Stadium, whatever you still call it. It's the last season there. There's a story just begging to be written about that. Hanging a Super Bowl banner in your first year in the new stadium across the street. I mean, come on. Who can resist? It's almost too much of a movie to even think that it could ever happen. But it's possible. It's certainly possible. Of course it is. But we just gotta... We're just hoping that, people, let's stay healthy. Let's win enough games to win a division. And hopefully the 1 seed, get some home playoff games. And then we'll just see what happens. I understand, I think, what it was like for like a Green Bay Packers fan. This may be a bad example because they did win a Super Bowl early on, but like Aaron Rodgers was still very good from like after they won the Super Bowl in like 2010, whatever, from 2011, basically up until the time he left. He was very good in Green Bay, and they never got back. I can't have that. I can't have that. My mind can't process that. Can't comprehend that. I can't have it. Let's get there. And the truth is, if the Bills had gotten to the Super Bowl last year against the Eagles, the exact same thing that happened to the Chiefs might have happened to the Bills. I mean, can we talk about that? It's entirely in the realm of possibility that the Eagles would have just, annihilated the Bills. And the Bills were good. Don't get me wrong. But those run-heavy teams, those teams that like to go heavy, I guess, with great offensive lines, those teams sometimes have their way with the Bills. They have at times in the past. No greater example, really, than the Baltimore Ravens, who are in town for the home opener this week. What a great transition, Greg. Excellent done. Just perfect. What a segue. The Ravens like to play heavy. It's no secret. They like to play with extra linemen, extra tight ends, fullbacks, and they love to run the football. They have one of the best to ever do it. Maybe the best to ever do it. Certainly in the conversation. The ageless wonder, Derrick Henry, who's the fall off has been, people have been talking about it for years. The fall off is coming. The fall off is coming. It never comes. The guy is still outstanding. I would anticipate he will be again this year. I think the Ravens might be a little bit different just in week one. I might be getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but I'm going to go right to the injury report. The Ravens might be a little bit different in week one because it's looking like Isaiah Likely and Patrick Ricard, the fullback, so that's their extra tight end and fullback, aren't going to play. So that's going to change them a little bit because they like to play, like I just said, they like to play heavy with extra tight ends and fullbacks, and they won't have that. I doubt, are they going to use Charlie Kolar? Probably. I guess he's definitely going to be active because Likely probably won't be. So I just think they're going to look a little bit different. Does that mean they can do nothing? Does that mean they're going to be totally helpless against the Bills? Of course not. It just means they might lean into what the Bills want them to do a little bit, which is sort of play 3 wide receivers, 11 personnel or more of it, or with less talented tight ends and fullbacks. If they play 3 wide receivers, that's advantage Bills. The Bills want to play nickel. The Bills like to play small on defense with the extra corner and only 2 linebackers. That's what they want. So I'm intrigued by that matchup. But what I don't love about where the Bills are, at least defensively right now, is the questions in the secondary. So, they bring back Tre'Davious White. They draft a couple of corners, Dorian Strong, Jordan Hancock. We don't really know who's going to play. That's the issue. It looks like Christian Benford's going to be fine. He's going to be your CB1. Might be a little bit more pressure on him this week because he might get singled up against Zay Flowers constantly because the Bills could be sliding help to whomever's playing CB2. Whether that is Dorian Strong as a rookie, whether that's Jamarcus Ingram, who they trust, whether it's Tre'Davious White, who we don't know is fully healthy, but it seems to be tracking the wrong way with Trey White. I wouldn't count on having him out there. Dealing with a groin injury. Same thing with Benford, honestly. Same thing with Keon Coleman on the other side of the football. What's with these groin injuries? I don't understand. But where the issue sort of cascades or, a domino effect almost, in the secondary at least, is you're starting Cole Bishop. And I want to start Cole Bishop. I want to see that. You need to find out what you've got there. Due respect to Damar Hamlin. Damar Hamlin's been here for a few years now, and he's filled in. He's done what they've asked him to do, what the coaching staff has asked him to do. He has filled in at the second safety spot alongside Taylor Rapp. Or when he's needed to, when Poyer was out or when Micah Hyde was out, even in the past. I just don't know. It's a little bit nerve-wracking because you don't know what you have yet in Cole Bishop. And I want to find out. You need to know what you have. That's a second-round pick. So the sooner the better. So get him in the lineup there, but with him having only played a handful of games, he did start the Kansas City game, the AFC Championship last year, and then just a giant question mark at second corner. Last year in the AFC Championship, that was Kaiir Elam, who they traded to Dallas, obviously. So I don't know who that's going to be. I don't think any of us necessarily know who that's going to be. It could be Dane Jackson, who they brought back off the practice squad. They brought back everyone off the practice squad, by the way. Dane Jackson's there. Jordan Poyer's back. Jordan Phillips is back. Gabriel Davis is back. I mean, all these former Bills. It's like Brandon Beane was like, well, there's no more Panthers I could bring in, so maybe I'll just bring in more Bills. Former Bills to play for the Bills again. Because I don't have any more former Panthers I could sign. They did sign Shaq Thompson, though. And Shaq Thompson made the roster. He is presumably the next guy up at one of the linebacker spots behind Bernard and Milano, along with Dorian Williams. Him and Dorian Williams, Shaq Thompson and Dorian Williams are the next to go there. And maybe they see more playing time this week because the Ravens tend to be a little bit more run heavy, But yeah, the Bills brought back a bunch of guys, and honestly, I'm not upset about that. I don't know why you would necessarily be like, oh my God. And I'm seeing some reaction to that. That's why I'm bringing it up. Like, oh my God, Gabe Davis. Oh my God, Jordan Poyer. Why are we going back to nostalgia, this and that? These guys didn't work. Well, ideally, they're not really going to have to play. It wouldn't shock me if a few of them suited up here and there. They obviously have the trust of the coaching staff. It's clear how much the coaching staff values guys that know what they expect and what they want. The 111th thing. Guys that will do their 111th. Don't be the reason. Just don't be the reason the play goes wrong. That's what they teach. And they have guys they trust. Jackson, Phillips, Poyer, etc. But if one of those guys has to go into the lineup, even Gabriel Davis to some extent, even though that seems like it's going to be at least a month away, that might mean that something is going poorly somewhere else, or something is going totally awry in the secondary or in the wide receiver core. And that part would make me a little bit nervous. But then you're getting this guy that you hopefully trust. So I guess that's the silver lining of it, I suppose. But I don't know. I'd prefer to just find the, I don't know. I don't know if lottery ticket is the way I want to put it, with like a young guy or something like that. I just want to just find that. Whether it's at receiver, I think receiver has been the number one position for it lately, but defensive line as well. The Bills addressed the defensive line a lot during the draft. Landon Jackson, Deion Walker, TJ Sanders. They signed Michael Hoyt. They signed Larry Ogunjobi, who are going to miss the first month and a half of the season. They signed Joey Bosa. Like there's your big ticket item for sure in the offseason is Joey Bosa for sure. And this is the type of game you got him for. Week 1. Like it's the Baltimore Ravens. Like if the Bills ended up losing the game, it's not the end of the world. Of course not. It's just week 1. The Bills are they've alternated wins and losses the past few years in week 1, and it really hasn't made much of a difference except when it comes to the 1 seed. And I think that is the goal. Not just the division. We expect that. We expect to win the division. The goal is the 1 seed. Make the AFC Championship come through Highmark Stadium. Make the last game at Highmark Stadium be the AFC Championship. That's it. Anyway, I just spent a lot of time on the defensive side of the ball, talking a little bit about the Ravens offense. I obviously do want to do the opposite, talk about the Ravens defense and the Bills offense. Although the Bills pretty much brought everybody back. There was a little bit of a contract dispute there with James Cook, but that ended up getting done. And he's really the first guy they've had in a while. There's been, the Devin Singletaries and Zach Mosses and whatnot, and throughout the years. This is the first guy where I was like, yeah, I think I want to keep him. I think I do want to keep him. I think he's very talented. And they did. So that's cool. But the other starters are all coming back. They just added Josh Palmer and Elijah Moore into the mix, into the wide receiver room. So hopefully, fingers crossed. I know that they go with this everybody eats mantra and stuff, but I would just love for somebody to for pressure to create diamonds. I know it sounds like that's such like a coach speak. I kind of hate myself for saying it almost, but just competition, making teams better. Iron sharpens iron. There, I said it. I said the thing. Can Keon Coleman make a long stride in year 2? Is Josh Palmer going to be a factor? or is he just going to be the guy that he's mostly been? I would lean more towards that. He's probably just going to be your 40-ish catch guy. Maybe you get one outlier year out of him where he had 70 catches with the Chargers. That's basically what happened. I just find something. Maybe that's Elijah Moore. I would say that's kind of unlikely. I just don't really know how much they're going to use Elijah Moore. But maybe you got a healthy Curtis Samuel, right? I mean, they're trying a lot of things. I can't fault them for trying these things necessarily. I do think that there's a good contingent of fans that would like to see the Bills just really get aggressive at wide receiver, whether that would have been like a trade for DK Metcalf or to make a move in the draft for somebody. Like that's really like where it kind of comes back to is your draft picks last year. Not this most recent year, of course, but last year were Coleman, Dwayne Carter, who's now out for the season, and Cole Bishop. And what are the Bills' needs? Receiver, safety, defensive tackle. I mean, they addressed receiver, they addressed defensive tackle, and they're giving Cole Bishop the keys. But I don't think anybody would have blinked if the Bills in the first round had drafted like Malachi Starks, who ended up going to the the Baltimore Ravens. I didn't really hit on Max Harrison, by the way. Very optimistic about Max Harrison. I think that there's some untouched potential, unreached potential for him to sort of get to with at corner. So I'm very optimistic about him once he gets in the lineup. It's just unfortunate that he sustained that injury in training camp. He's going to slowly work his way back into the lineup, and I'm not sure when he's going to be a starter. That's unfortunate, but this is the hand we were dealt. Anyway, Malachi Starks, who I just brought up, I think is just unbelievable player. I wanted him for the Bills. Is like the 2024 draft. I was like, man, I would love to just sort of pair Malachi Starks next year with Cole Bishop, and that was my envisioning safety tandem. But the Ravens got him. Of course they did. The Ravens always get the guy who is like got questions, like Mike Green, great example. Like, oh, you have questions, character questions or whatever. We'll take you. You have talent, but there's questions about this or that. Like, we'll try. Yeah, sure, we'll try it. The Ravens do that in the AFC, and the Eagles do that in the NFC constantly, over and over and over again. Ravens secondary is tightened up. I mean, you're not dealing with was it Brandon Williams or whatever, or Stevens or something like that? I don't even remember the name. Now you're talking Nate Wiggins, who's fantastic. Had a great rookie season. Jair Alexander, who looks questionable for the game, for the Bills game. So I don't really know what's going to happen with there. I think they have Chidobe Awuzie, who has started in the league. I don't think he's terrible by any means. And of course, Marlon Humphrey. And now you have Kyle Hamilton and Malachi Starks. Like that is something. I like what they're building back there. Of course, they have Roquan Smith patrolling the middle. Pass rushers galore with Odafe Owe. Kyle Van Noy is still there. Matabike in the middle. I like their team. It's hard to look at the Ravens and be like, where's the weakness? The weakness is really with the injuries I alluded to earlier, because I think it changes the way they play offense a little bit without an extra tight end, without the fullback, because that's what they would prefer to do to you. Anyway, I don't really want to go beyond 20 minutes with this video, but here we go, guys. Here we go again. Year 8 with Josh Allen. No rings to show for it. No Super Bowl appearances to show for it. You've seen every record that he's broken, every playoff record that he's broken without a Super Bowl appearance. It's time. Let's get it done. Having said that, I don't love this. I think it's a bad spot, I think, for the Bills. The Ravens, the revenge game, the Mark Andrews revenge or whatever. I'm going to pick the Ravens to win. Like, I'm going to say I'm really close. Razor thin to 1.5 point going both ways in Vegas. 24-23, Ravens. Maybe that Tyler Loop, their rookie kicker, makes a difference at the end. Or maybe Matt Prater. I didn't even touch him. The Bills might drop Matt Prater out there in 2025 for the home opener. Anyway, if you're going, you know where to find me. Say what's up. Guys, enjoy your weekend. And as always, Above all else, go Bills.